Hey guys, today we will be discussing problem of the day of Geeks for Geeks. So today's problem of the day is merging details. So according to the question, Bob, a teacher of St. Joseph School, given a task by his principal to merge the details of the students where each element details I is a list of strings, where the first element details I0 is the name of the student and the rest of the elements are emails representing emails of the student. Two details definitely belong to the same student if there is some common email to both detail. After merging the details, return the details of the student in the following format. The first element of each detail is the name of the student and the rest of the elements are emails in sorted order. The details themselves can be returned in any order. Note, two details have the same name. They may belong to different people as people could have the same name. So what this question basically is saying is that you will be given a details of some students first. So this will be the details array where the in it you will contain vector of string. Now see, suppose this is the vector of string. Now in this vector of string, the first element, so the first element will be the name of that student, and then the other elements in this vector will be the emails of the student. Now, what this question is saying is we need to merge the details of all the students. So, what it means is that maybe this email belongs to the same student, but it is over there is redundancy for this email. For example, see John and John's emails are here. Now there is another new entry, John, and you can find the same email. So the question wants us to merge these details and output the answer like John and just one email, John and this John Smith. So all three emails are merged in a single entry of John. So that's what the question is saying. And another thing is, there can be two Johns also, but then emails for both of this John, both the John will be different. But there is one more case. What if this is John and his email ID is johnsmith@mail.com, and maybe there is another person, say Mary. What if Mary's email ID was not mary@mail.com and it was johnsmith@mail.com? In that case, what we would have done was that we would have taken John only and we would have omitted Mary from our answers list because this email belongs to John. So basically, then Mary is also John only. I hope you understand. If you did not, please rewind the video and listen to it again. So now I will be telling you the approach how to solve this problem. So for solving this problem, I have already written code for you. So we will be creating our answer vector or vector string. Now we will be using map to mark those email IDs which exists. For example, we will be iterating these the details array which is given in the question. For example, first we will iterate this johnsmith@mail.com. So then we will store it in the exists a map. We will map it that this johnsmith@mail.com exists at which entry of our answers list. Now when we will dry run the code, you will get it more clear. So now initially the answer list is empty and our map is also empty. So now we start iterating from for the details array, and now we will use a flag. What will this flag tell us? That suppose in the ith entry of details, if we find any email that already exists in the answer array, then we will just make the flag as true because that will indicate that we need to merge this detail with a previous detail already entered in our answer array. And if we do not find this flag, that is, if we do not find any entry, any email in this ith detail, then we need to create a new entry. So we have created a flag. Initially we said false, that is we are assuming that in this ith detail and detail, there is all the emails are new. So we have initially set the flag as false. This flag will be true if we find a duplicate entry which already exists in our answer array. Now initially answer is empty and we are creating an entry. uh, Now this entry variable is created so that we can store the index in our answer array. If we find, suppose we find an entry is duplicate in the ith detail, that means that email should already exist in our answer in a previous entry. So if this exists, then we will mark that entry, or we will make this entry variable equal to that index of in the answer array where that entry is stored. So initially it is empty answer array. Now we start iterating. Now for the first, we will start from the email IDs. That is why we have taken one here, because first will be the name and then the email IDs starts. So we need to map all the email IDs. So we are starting from j equals to 1. So if this exists, initially nothing will exist. So if it exists, then it will come in this if statement. But since it does not exist, our flag will remain false only, and this will not be executed initially. Now since our flag is false, then we will go in this condition because our flag is false. So that means we will insert an empty vector of strings in our answer. Why? Because we did not find any entry. Suppose we iterated from this details. So here we did not find any entry for johnsmith@mail.com in our map, nor we found any entry for johnnewyork@mail.com in our map. So what we did, our flag remained false. So answer was empty. So we create a new entry in our answer. Initially we just put an empty string, and we will now fill this empty vector of string with this details I which we found, that does not exist in our map. Now since we pushed an empty string, so the answer will now be having an one entry, having an empty vector of strings. Now in this empty vector string, which will be the last element in our answers list right now, so we will just push back the name of the person, because details I comma 0 will be the name, right? Because this details I, we iterated and we found that the detail does not exist right now. So first we will push the created a new entry, and now we will push the name in this last entry, because we pushed this empty vector string which will be the last element of this answer. So in the back, that is the last element of answer, we will push back the name of the person. Now we will start by pushing the email IDs of this person. So email start from index 1. From this was index 0 where we have name. Now from index 1 we have email IDs. So we will start from this one index to the last index, and we will again check. Now why we are checking, there you may have a question that we checked all this details ith entry and we found that none of these emails exist. So we have already checked that these emails does not exist. But what if this is John? Suppose this entry is johnsmith@mail.com, and this entry, instead of being johnnewyork@mail.com, was again johnsmith@mail.com. Then we check that these both of these entries did not exist, but they are same. If they were same, then we may face a problem. Our answer will not be accepted. So we need to check for every ID. Now when we iterated here, this does not exist, right? So we will just mark this exist as the answer dot size, right? So we just mark the index, the first entry in our answer, because now answer size is 1. So the first entry will be marked, will be mapped in our map, and we will just push this details in our answer. So now in our answer we will have this name and this detail and this email, and we have also mapped this email ID. Now similarly, we'll move on to the next. Now J will become 2. So we come to this email ID. Now we will again check if this exists in our map. Now in this case, this does not exist in our map. So we will again map it in our map and we'll push this in our answer. So now our answer will contain this whole entry. Now here, what if this johnsmith@mail.com was repeated here also? These both johnsmith@mail.com was same as johnnewyork@mail.com. That is, if this johnnewyork@mail.com was not johnnewyork@mail.com but was same as johnsmith@mail.com, then that's why we just checked here if not exists, because when we iterated to this johnsmith@mail.com, we mapped this johnsmith@mail.com and here exists. So now again, if it occurs in this same details I here, sorry, johnsmith@mail.com, if it repeats here only, then we will catch it here only because it already exists. So we will not repeat it in our answer. Now, similarly, this was the case when the flag was false. That is, we did not find any duplicate entry, right? But there may be a case when we may encounter a duplicate entry. So, for example, when we iterated from here, we just marked this entry. Now, there can be a case when if we find that that entry already, that email ID already exists. Now what will happen in that case? Suppose we just iterated here and then we came here, then we find that this johnsmith@mail.com already exists here, so we cached it in this if statement. So in that case, we will make the flag as true because we found a duplicate entry here, and we will just mark this entry as the, since we mapped the entry of that of every email that where in that answer that exists. So in our answer the index will be 0, but in our map we marked it as 1. So we will mark our entry as 0. So this exists details of ij, that is, that will be 1. So 1 minus 1 will become 0. So we found that this johnsmith@mail.com already exists in our answer list, and where it exists at entry number 0 in our answer list. So then we will break the loop and we will reach here because this already exists and flag is true. So what we will do, for every email ID of this ith detail, we will check if this ID exists or not. So since this ID exists, so we will not push it. Now we will move on to this one, john00@mail.com. Since this ID does not exist in our map since till now, so what we will do, since we already know the entry where we found this johnsmith@gmail.com duplicate entry, so that means this person is the same as a person which we have already marked in our answers entry. So we will make all these IDs pushed into this before the person which we found before with the same email ID. But since this johnsmith@mail.com already exists, we did not push it. Now when we iterated here john00@mail.com, since this does not exist, so we will push this in the same entry which we found that already existed. So we will just push this john00@mail.com in answer 0th entry. So our answer would look something like the first entry having John, then this johnsmith@gmail.com, then this johnnewyork@gmail.com, sorry, @mail.com, and the next entry this we found was duplicate. So and since we uh, so we did not enter this if statement because it already existed. Then we entered it here, john00@mail.com. Now this does not exist, so we will come here and we found entry before only. The entry was this one. This is the zeroth index in our answer, and so we just push this entry here, john00@mail.com. Now I hope you are clear how we uh, reduce the redundancy which was present in this. Similarly, we will iterate to whole of these details and we will make it merged in our answer array like this only. So just like this, the whole details will be merged, and after that what we will do, because the question asked us that we need to sort it, it was written here. After merging the details, return the details of the first element should be the detail student and the rest of the elements in sorted order. So what we will do, since the first is name, so we will for every answer say this is answer. Suppose this is the first element. So what we are doing, for every element in answer we will sort that element. Now we will sort this particular element, but from where to where? From answer I dot begin. This is the beginning, which will be the name. So we don't want the name to be sorted with the emails. We only want to sort the emails. So we will just choose answer I dot begin plus 1, so that we start the sorting from here and we sort it till the end. So we will sort every index in our answer. This answer array will contain more indexes like this 1, 2, and there will be some name and email 1 of that person, email 2, and so on. Just like this, there will be entry 2. So all of these entries will be sorted. Now we can simply we will sort the complete answer in a reverse order. Now why we are doing so, I will tell you later on. But for now, just we are just sorting it in a reverse order and we will return the answer. Okay, now let me tell you why we sorted this in a reverse order. There will be a test case which I have marked. Suppose this is the test case, and if we just reverse sort it first, then our answers list, if we reverse sort it first, that is, if we just put this line, sort answer dot reverse dot begin to answer dot reverse dot end. If we put this line here, what will happen, we will get our answer like this, because in this it will sort it back again here. Okay, now why, if it is sorting in the end, what is the meaning of this reverse sorting before? So if we reverse sort our answer first, then see, there are these two entries. If we reverse sort it, this entry gets on top, which is having the same name, Briadon and Briadon. But if we reverse sort it first, then when it will sort it again, then this the bigger entry comes above and the smaller entry comes below. But if we do not reverse sort it, if we did not put this line, we will be getting this after sorting Briadon and Briadon, but this time smaller entry will come on the top. But this will give you wrong answer because it wants this entry on the top. So that's why we are sorting this in a reverse sort before. And after this reverse sort in this driver code, it will again sort it. But now what will happen? We will get this bigger entry on the top. So that's it for this code. Now let us submit this code. We got a correct answer. Now let me show you, if we do not reverse sort it, what will happen. It will give us wrong answer. See, and I have taken this input only where it gives wrong answer, which I have shown here. So I hope you liked this video, and if you did like it, then please like and share and subscribe to the channel.